Standing members. This is Sassi. अनम्यूट हो गया, अब आपकी आवाज जा रही होगी।
ठीक हो गया, you can see me.
Hello. अच्छा आप तो कभी मैं क्या भी कहती है।
किधर गया?
ठीक है।
Ambassador Asseri can see me from the Riyadh. Can I? इस पे अपीयर क्यों नहीं हो रहा?
क्या वो दूसरे स्पीकर क्योंकि अभी अटेंडिंग मेंबर्स से अभी एक ही है, पार्टिसिपेंट्स है ना, इनमें से
आपको मैंने भेजी है ना,
मैं आपको बताता हूं अटेंडेंस है, इनमें से अलाउड टू टॉक करना पड़ेगा या मोर में जाके प्रमोट करना पड़ेगा। ये थिंक अली असरी ये ही इज द वो एम्बेसडर ना, तो व्हेन इट्स टर्न टू प्ले वी प्रमोट हिम टू पैनलिस्ट एंड देन उनकी वीडियो भी इधर आ जाएगी। अभी भी मैं डाल सकता हूं, अगर वो अपना म्यूट कर ले तो हाँ ठीक होगा। चलिए प्रमोट हिम टू पैनलिस्ट है।
गलत है कि
ओके
I should be able to talk to him, see him.
ठीक है हो गया। ओके तो दिस इज हिम एंड दिस इज यू। इसको अब चेंज भी कर सकते हैं थोड़ा इसका सेटअप अगर आई थिंक हाँ इनका म्यूट आई थिंक नहीं है इसलिए ये ज्यादा आगे आ गए। आप कुछ छोटे काम बोल रहे हैं।
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Ambassador Asseri, can you see me? Are you there, sir?
सर देखिए ये म्यूटेड है, इनकी आवाज म्यूटेड है।
म्यूट ना करो इनको।
नहीं ये उनकी है म्यूटेड, आप तो ऑन है।
Hello,
आपकी आवाज on है।
hello, hello.
Hello, Ambassador. Hopefully you can hear us.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
I can see you very well, loud and clear actually.
All right, good.
So now you're there, sir, inshallah.
I am ready.
Fine. So then we are also ready. Please take your seats. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings to all and welcome to South Asian Strategic Studies Institute. I am Brigadier retired but not so tired, Mehboob Qadir, Director of Forum for Africa and Middle East at Sassi and the moderator for today's discussion. We are here to weigh the pertinent issues of Pakistan's relations with Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Our topic today is Evolving South Asia Middle East Geostrategic Picture, Posture Correction, and Pak-Saudi relations. I am delighted to introduce our esteemed panel. And this is with reference to HE Ambassador Nawaf bin Saeed al-Maliki, who could have been here but is not here. He has been the ambassador of KSA to Pakistan since 2017. And today he was to give his country's perspective on what is the importance of Pak-Saudi relations to the Saudi foreign policy goals in the region. Our next speaker is you yourself, sir, is going to be Ambassador retired Dr. Ali S. Awadh Asseri, who has intimately dealt with Pak-Saudi relations as the ambassador of KSA to Pakistan from 2001 to 2009. He is the moving spirit behind and member of the board. I beg your pardon, sir. A member of the board with Rasanah Institute, Riyadh, dedicated to Iran-focused studies. He will talk about Saudi Arabia's economic outreach program for the region and how does he see the role of Pakistan in the regional economic strategy. Gentlemen, this comes from a sage who inherits and shares centuries of great Arabian desert wisdom, which is very close to the nature and therefore pure and tested.
Thank you.
Lastly, my pleasure, sir. Lastly, we have Ambassador retired Khalid Mahmood. He is our former ambassador to Pakistan, to Iran, Iraq, China, Saudi Arabia, and Mongolia. His experience makes him a very valuable repository of multiple shades of Pakistan's foreign relations with the Middle East. Currently, he is chairman of an Islamabad-based think tank, Institute of Strategic Studies. He will talk about the possible security cooperation between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia in the Arabian Gulf, Red Sea, and related issues. Here I am an exception to the rule I would venture, and I'm inclined to suspend my right to moderate as he speaks because we have been together in Riyadh. He, as a very seasoned Pakistan ambassador, and my mentor and I as Director General of Pakistan Armed Forces Deputationist in the Kingdom and a novice in military diplomacy. Now a bit about the seminar itself. Permit me to introduce the seminar. Pakistan's relations with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have been in line with the fundamental foreign policy dictum of pan-Islamism. In the case of KSA, it is even more because of being the custodians of the two holy cities of Mecca and Medina, and what it deems as preeminent the role of Saudi Arabia in fostering Muslim nations around the world. This relationship exceeds religious attachment. KSA has been a reliable friend and economic partner of Pakistan in our times of trial and peace. Pakistan has had an enduring relations with Gulf and MENA countries in defense, trade, education, and tourism. We have a large diaspora settled in the two regions and workforce in all sectors of their economy. In recent times, Middle East countries are swiftly reorienting their strategic goals to serve their respective national policies of shifting their economic dependence to non-oil sector and looking for regional trade partners and investment opportunities, especially in technology and defense. While this change has ushered in an acceptance for greater economic ties and multifaceted cooperation, Pakistan views with a lurking apprehension the growing role of Israel in the security frameworks of individual states in this very important geostrategic zone of the world. May I say, just as grapes do not grow on poison ivy, similarly enduring peace cannot be expected of a multilateralist state like Israel. Their present diplomacy disregards international obligations and future state design shows no respect for the neighboring state's sovereignty or political geography. Pakistan maintains its stance on illegality of the Jewish state and prefers the resolution of the core issues of the injustice and atrocities that continue to be carried out against the Palestinians. It places, beg your pardon, it places the Palestinian cause side by side with the Kashmir issue as a state policy. However, it is a welcome realization amongst most Muslim countries of needing to adopt a modernistic and progressive approach, of collaborating and strategizing an inclusive economic and financial trajectory in the wake of brewing turmoil. The need to advocate the Muslim point of view to the world and take a stand for the millions who are being persecuted in their own countries or either being driven out or disowned, like the Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar and the mass of Muslims in India, particularly that of Assam and Kashmir, require us to be sagacious and united in our approach. The Vision 2030 presented by the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is a comprehensive step towards the much needed modernization and economic and regional integration, which parallel Pakistan's own Vision 2025. The promise of KSA investment in CPEC projects in Awadh portends a flourishing economic and trade partnership between Pakistan and the Gulf region, especially Saudi Arabia. The digital sorry for this.
Okay, so that once it's done, it's
Awfully sorry for this interruption.
No
The
problem.
Digital Cooperation Organization, of which Pakistan is a founding member, is another endeavor towards increased coordination in healthcare, defense, recreation, technology, and education. One is hopeful the future will see Saudi Asia, MENA, and the Gulf interconnected through land and sea linkages, opening the path to cultural exchanges and multifaceted cooperation, especially in the sectors of technology and energy. In our view, that is the key to attaining sustainable development and peace in Pakistan and in the wider Muslim world. This is what I had to say as introductory note to the webinar. Now I'll request Dr. Maria Sultan, Chairman Sassi, to let us hear her views.
a very good afternoon to Ambassador Asseri. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And of course, Ambassador Khalid, for honoring us to speak on a subject which is close to every Pakistani, that is the strength and the future of Pakistan-Saudi relations. It is a matter of distinct honor for us to have this afternoon with us two distinguished veterans of foreign policy as well as practitioners who perhaps understand the nature, the character of this relationship far better than most people will tend to see. As we know, ladies and gentlemen, the importance of Pakistan-Saudi relationship is not just vested in terms of how we define it, paraphrasing it, and how we define it in global security paradigm, but also in the nature of the bilateral relations itself. So it is extremely important that not only we see how this relationship is being built, but also in terms of what would be the future impact in terms of how the regional security adapts to various international security concerns. In this context, we are very lucky to raise few questions. And for the August panel, before I request that we go for this, we are able to pick up on some of the key factors which are right now affecting the two sides. So just to begin with, I'm just going to leave it for the two esteemed panelists to maybe perhaps comment on it, in addition to the comments which they will be making. First and foremost is, of course, how do you see the nature of Pakistan-Saudi relations over the decades, number one? And number two, do you think that there has been any significant change or departure in that relationship? And if so, what are the different contours of that? Secondly, we also understand today we are living in an age of economic transformation and economic development. In this case, what do you see is the strength of the Pakistan-Saudi relations in that context, and whether or not we see a strong future built around that? And third, of course, is something which relates to the security and the military security of this region. That is the leadership of Pakistan and Saudi Arabia for regional security in Africa, Middle East, and South Asia. And we understand that the Indian Ocean has become an ocean of great convergence, not only for global economic security, but also for global international security. So in this case, how do you see the future will be? And most importantly, do you think that there needs to be a revisit for Pakistan and Saudi Arabia to build up on the years of foreign policy and years of strong bilateral relations? What can be done to further strengthen this relationship? One, and number two, what is the actual importance of this relationship to regional security and international security? So with these few questions, I will now hand over back to Brigadier Mehboob to take on the conversation, and then request the August speakers to comment on a relationship which is of great importance.
आपकी आवाज इसी लैपटॉप से चली जाएगी। इस लैपटॉप से
बेटा आपको पता है कि इस वक्त इंटरनेट के ऊपर आ रहे हैं।
So sorry for this little technological inconvenience. And thank you, Dr. Maria, for a very nice opening address. And now we have our first speaker, Ambassador Retired Dr. Ali S. Awadh Asseri, who would now, I would request him to enlighten us with his thoughts and ideas about the topic that we had requested him to speak, and the question that has been raised by Dr. Maria. Over to you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And very delighted to see Dr. Maria and Ambassador Khalid and all the paneling and all the technicians moving around. So it links me back again to my favorite country, Pakistan. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. First of all, thank you very much for your kind invitation. And I'm very happy to share my thoughts with people and country that I have a special love and respect for. Having lived almost a decade in your great country, Pakistan has become part of my life. And if I may emphasize, can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. If I may emphasize here, I'm speaking on my personal capacity and not any official capacity at all. I only represent my thoughts here. So whatever I say would represent my thoughts. This is just for the record. What I would like to do is to, as we all know, that Saudi Arabia and Pakistan have always enjoyed incomparable level of understanding and friendship based on common religious and cultural and his social values. And I'm delighted to see that this historic bond between the two brotherly nations has over time consolidated enough to cover not only close security cooperation, but also major Saudi investment in the development sector in Pakistan. So I vividly remember the gravity of terrorism challenges that both of our nations faced post 9/11, and how we confronted this menace together in those critical times, without which the great success both Pakistan and Saudi Arabia have achieved and the war on terror might not be possible. I remember I arrived in Pakistan in February 2001, and 9/11, that happened, and we had to face new challenges, both countries, and that had show how cohesive and the cohesion that we have, both country and both nation, both officials, both leaders, and both countries have been able to deal with the new challenges as a result of 9/11. And so we know that 9/11 has changed everything. Our priority thoughts the next several years of my role as ambassador in Pakistan Corps was to ensure Pakistan remains secure and stable. For the purpose, used all bilateral and multilateral diplomatic efforts. I also remember working very closely and very well with President Musharraf and Prime Minister Shaukat Aziz to ensure the common quest against the menace of terrorism. Saudi Arabia has always defended Pakistan's national causes, such as Kashmir, in international forums, and extended unflinching economic help in testing times like the 2005 earthquake. We remember very well when the earthquake happened that King Abdullah, rahimahullah, ordered an air fleet, an air bridge between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. And the unlimited support of medicines and two state-of-the-art hospitals field hospitals were established, and many Saudi doctors came and were dealing with all surgery and all whatever was needed at that time. So that reflects indeed how genuine our relationship is. I also remember the problems as a result of the war in Afghanistan and the suffering that Pakistan had to face because of the refugees from Afghanistan. And I know that added load of economic burden on Pakistan. So we wholeheartedly we are in the kingdom, and we have always been as people and as government with the nation of Pakistan. Historically, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan have closely cooperated security matters in the economic sphere. However, our bilateral trade volume has remained, unfortunately, limited to only over $3 billion from time to time. In order to reduce also the pressure of rising oil prices on PAC economy, Saudi government has extended the facility of deferred payment on oil important worth billions of US dollars whenever such need arose. Seeing in the backdrop, I am now particularly happy and excited to observe that a major transformation underway in Saudi PAC economic relationship, whereby our leadership and government have decided to actually invest in the economic development of Pakistan. The following indicators of this transformed Saudi approach towards Pakistan are worth mentioning. First of all, we realize Pakistan's geostrategic location at the crossroads of east-west and north-south trade corridor, including the China-Pakistan economic corridor as a flagship project. China built and road initiative. Saudi Arabia is itself diversifying its global economic linkages with China, Central Asia, and Southeast Asia. We understand the pivotal value of deep sea Qadir port. No doubt, Saudi Arabia has, in the last few years, again taken the lead in confronting Pakistan's current economic problems by offering a generous support of 6 billion, including 3 billion each for balance of payments and deferred payments on oil imports annually. But an important point to note is that Saudi Arabia, in line with the China-Pakistan economic corridor, with what is being said as Saudi-Pak economic corridor. A high level of Saudi delegation, I think last year or probably before, of states official and business led by the advisor of energy and mineral resources, Ahmed Al-Ghamdi, has visited Pakistan, finalized the various agreement and modality to implement and enhance the cooperation between our two brotherly nations in the field of oil, refining, petrochemical, mining, and renewable energy in Pakistan. Also, there are efforts underway to boost bilateral trade, especially by reinforcing the link between the Chamber of Trade and Commerce of the two countries, and have agreed to negotiate a free trade agreement. I remember that Saudi-Pakistani trade mission consisting of representatives of 65 Saudi companies and 35 Pakistani companies has met in Jeddah under the auspices of the Saudi Export Development Authority. Taking this opportunities as a private Saudi citizen, also involved in international trade and investment consultancy, I consider this extremely important to pinpoint rare opportunities for Pak skilled workforce in my country. I want to emphasize here, the problem, we can talk so long of theoretical actions, visiting delegation, company meetings in Jeddah and Islamabad, but we are not translating this into action. Talking about the workforce, Pakistan needs really to review the workforce that comes to Saudi Arabia by the quality of labor, because now things have changed. It's not just, whether he's electrician or mason or mechanic or whatever he is. If he is not knowledgeable, people will go to other countries. So I strongly recommend that occupational institute or occupational training center for the young Pakistani who are able to, and they love the IT, they can be trained, they can be well prepared to enter the Saudi market, because Saudis will prefer Pakistani to any other nationalities. But if you had a company, you don't want to bring somebody, you would have to work 1 year to teach them what to do. Therefore, I emphasize and I request and I strongly recommend that we should and we must actually create those, they should be part of the, there are many recruiting agencies there. They have so much money. If the government doesn't have money, they can impose certain rules on those exporting agents who are exporting laborers to the Gulf and to Saudi Arabia to have trainings, and nobody should leave if he is not qualified. So the reputation of Pakistanis will be much better than it is today. And believe me, every Saudi would rather come to Pakistan other than going to India to get a technician or to get a plumber or whatever. So we need to review all those points that I have mentioned. Also, I think, having lived in Pakistan for many years and have visited many of your Chamber of Commerces, I have been to Lahore, I've been to Sialkot, I've been to Karachi, but I have not seen any improvement. We have delegation coming, delegation going. We have people coming, mashallah, for Umrah, and for Hajj, millions of Pakistanis, they come. What we really need to do is to get a governmental agency or an institution to coordinate this effort. The Chamber of Commerce, Ministry of Commerce can really play a very big role to apply this theory, to make sure that the trade between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan improves, and also to address any obstacle that meets the. I see, every day I go to market or the fish, I see mango from India. Why don't we have Pakistani mango? Why don't we have Pakistani rice? Why surgical equipment and the Sialkot was sold to a German company, and then we buy it from Germany. So there is a lack of communication, lack of forcing the institutions to work together. So I think by doing that we can see a tangible improvement. We can see really tangible improvement and both, and whether it's in the workforce, highly qualified, and sent to Saudi Arabia, whether it's in the Chamber of Commerce interacting with each other, whether we have a buddy between the Ministry of Commerce in Pakistan and Ministry of Commerce in Saudi Arabia to facilitate, to really make sure that any obstacles is overcome and doors are open for our brothers in Pakistan and sisters to be able to trade with Saudi Arabia, without any problems. So I think I would probably conclude here, because I want to give the chance to Ambassador Khalid also, and I'm willing to answer any question. But I think what you have if we don't translate what I have talked about into action, we will remain to be, and next year we'll have another conference and we'll be talking about the same thing. So I think the technicality of the issue need to be readdressed. I think the lack that we realize we should deal with it. I think few valid points should be put together and should be really communicated to the concerned authorities in Pakistan and Saudi Arabia in order to really translate our love, our respect, our strong relationship into action. So our people in Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, believe me, I went to Islamabad and I saw certain things are made for JCPenney in America. Well, Saudi Arabia is closer than America. It's only 3 hours away from Lahore. So if possible, we don't need just to address all those theory and say the idealists, ideal ideas, and if we don't translate them into action, we will be wasting our time. Thank you very much for giving me the floor, and I really appreciate it. It's great to see all of you. It has been a long time, but always remember that Pakistan has a place at the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. Pakistan Zindabad.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Asseri, you have been very, very impressive.
Thank you.
There are hundreds of quotes that I can speak from your speech.
You're very kind. Thank you.
You said we have enjoyed incomparable levels of understanding between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia.
True. Yes.
Then the wording says Saudi Arabia always defended Pakistan's national causes like Kashmir and provided financial support to the brotherly country. Tremendous. Saudi Arabia closely cooperated in trade and security matters with Pakistan, and you showed regret that the volume of trade is just $3 billion, which is, I agree with you, which is too less.
Absolutely.
The deferred payment on oil imports is well known and so well regarded. We realize, you said we realize Pakistan's geostrategic location in the region and the importance of Awadh port, and that Saudi Arabia is also diversifying its relations with China. But the crowning sentence that you said was, we must translate love and respect for each other into action. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure, my pleasure. I say this from the bottom of my heart. You know,
Absolutely, I was just about to say this, that this comes straight from your heart, and it has touched us.
If we raise one question, we had 65 Saudi companies meeting 35 Pakistani prominent companies. They have money, they have resources. What have they done? They just met in Jeddah and went for Umrah and said, Salaam alaikum. This is not what this is really need to be addressed. We need to have a more. We must have engaged more in different fields, not just on, especially in the trade, because Pakistan has so much to offer. I hardly see a Pakistani mangoes in Saudi Arabia, except where is the Pakistani community. I have to go all the way to get Anwar Toro Chansa, you know. Where in the market you find all the Indian mangoes are in the counter of every shop. Why can't we do? I mean, Pakistan has. If they don't have the same mango, they have better mangoes, I must say, because I live there and I love the Pakistani mangoes. The rice, who is it? Many, we need to have a true engagement that we will both benefit. I'm not saying would any or expect any company to make things free for the Saudis, for the Pakistanis. No, but engagement is absolutely vital. A better engagement, not just a meeting and photo session and goodbye. That will not help the nations. We know our Aqidah is our base. Our relationship is based on Aqidah. That's good enough. We are true Muslims. Alhamdulillah, we are very proud. But is that enough to feed the people? Is that enough to qualify the people? Is that enough to really, you know, we need engagement. We need the people. We must have a liaison. It doesn't work. How long have we been talking about this? Unless if we have a governmental engagement to make sure that the doors are open for Pakistani products and the doors are open for Saudi products. And here we can say, yes, we see products of Pakistan in the Saudi market, the rice, the mangoes, the surgical equipment, the leather products, whatever it is. If you go to Sialkot, they have so much, maybe they need partnership with Saudis because maybe they don't have the resources, the money. If they engage with a Saudi partner, they will grow, they will export not only to Saudi Arabia or to the Gulf, they can export to the world. So we need to address all those. And I say this from the bottom of my heart. I will not be a diplomat on this. I'll be a realist on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for very kind words. In fact, you were never a diplomat. You were always talking from the bottom of your heart.
Thank you.
And let me seek a clarification from you. I should understand that your fondness for Pakistani mangoes is a shade less than the fondness for Pakistan itself. Am I right?
No. I love Pakistan. I like the mangoes, but I love Pakistan.
Thank you very much, sir. And taking a cue from you, I think an informal forum of these vast number of companies, Saudi companies and Pakistani companies, to interact with each other will be a much better forum than a formal forum. I just take, it's a loud thought. With
Absolutely.
This, thank you very much, sir. And with this idea, thank you very much, sir, for your talk again. I now request Ambassador Khalid Mahmood to express his views.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. And I can see you also.
Okay. So now it's okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Maria Sultan, Chairman of Sassi, to have provided me with this opportunity to first meet my old friend, Ambassador Asseri,
Thank you.
because I have very happy memories of my interaction with him when he was ambassador of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to Pakistan. And we really cherish those very happy days we spent together.
I do too.
Before saying something, I also want to put in this caveat that I am not here speaking as representative of the government of Pakistan, but in my capacity as chairman of the Institute of Strategic Studies. So responsibility, what I say, is only mine. So first, of course, there is no denying the fact that Pakistan and Saudi Arabia have enjoyed very deep brotherly ties, steeped in Islamic brotherhood and common faith. I don't have to repeat that we have always stood by each side in their times of difficulties. This relationship has been very extensive, covering political, economic, military fields. And so much so that Prince Turki Al-Faisal, a long time head of the Saudi intelligence and ambassador to United States and United Kingdom, he described this relationship, and I quote him, that it is probably one of the closest in the world between any two countries.
That's true.
So, and this relationship we are proud of. And as an evidence of that, I personally experienced this thing. I was ambassador from 97 to 2000 in Saudi Arabia. And during that time, the nuclear testing took place, Pakistan and in India nuclear testing. See, I requested immediately for an audience with Harman al-Sharifan, Khadim al-Haram al-Sharifan. And I was told that, you see, it is Friday tomorrow and the king is not feeling well. So it will be difficult, I said, no, please put in my request. And I cut short the foreign ministry route, I directly owned the palace. So after 1 hour, reply came that His Majesty the King will receive me tomorrow. So next day, I was taken to the palace somewhere near the coast, sea coast. And, it was dead silence because it was Friday, holiday, no one around. And I was ushered in to His Majesty the King. He was sitting alone to receive a Pakistani ambassador. And his first words were very gracious. He said, Mr. Ambassador, I'm sorry I cannot get up to receive you because of my knee problem.
Fantastic.
So it was very gracious of him to have said this. But then it was already in the news that Pakistan has, tested this nuclear testing. So I explained to him, according to the government brief, why we have done this and that. He listened to me very patiently, very attentively. And then he replied. He said, Mr. Ambassador, we are against what you have done because we are party to the Non-Proliferation Treaty, which is against the spread of nuclear weapons. but we know why you have done it. We appreciate that. And we will help you more than what you even expect from us.
Wow.
This
What
from
is
the king himself personally. These were very categorical that we will help you more than what you expect of us. So next day I had a meeting with, at that time, Crown Prince Abdullah. Then it was a detailed meeting, but his concluding remarks were the same. We are against what you have done in principle, but why we know why you have done it, and we will help you more than what you expect. So this was and then of course, as we are all aware that how the oil facility was also extended to Pakistan for 80,000 barrels per day for the first 2 years, 40,000 barrels a day for the next 2 years, and totaling about $3.4 billion. So this was according to my own personal experience, the height of Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, brotherly ties. But now, so news is on newspapers that Pakistan is being pressed to make payment, post-hit payments, the installments of the funds which Saudi Arabia has parked in for balance of payment support to Pakistan. So naturally, Is it okay? Can you hear me?
I
Can
can.
you hear me,
Yes,
sir?
I can hear you, yes.
You can hear me, sir.
I can if you are talking to me.
So though this is quite normal, so as I was saying, this is a normal banking transaction, but perception, and as I said, are being raised among the public. Then, of course, Saudi Arabia is the home of two holiest shrines of Islam. And Khadim al-Sharifan, as a result, is a custodian of the interest of the Islamic Ummah. And Muslims all over the world look up towards the kingdom for leadership in protecting the rights of Muslims wherever and whenever they are threatened or violated. And Saudi Arabia has been in the forefront of protecting the rights of the Palestinians and the people of Kashmir. And we are really proud of that and thankful for it. But of course, again, the news are swirling that the kingdom might normalize its relations with Israel. Rightly, I'm saying wrongly, ignoring Palestinian rights of statehood with East Jerusalem as its capital. Of course, Saudi Arabian government has denied these reports. But if there is any shred of truth in such developments, again, eyebrows will be raised. On Kashmir, the kingdom has always given firm support to the right of the self-determination of the people of Kashmir in accordance with UN resolutions. And it has always expressed solidarity with the people of occupied Kashmir to realize this inalienable right. But we now all are aware what's happening there, that the people of occupied Kashmir are undergoing the worst form of foreign occupation, with their every fundamental rights being violated. And this is not confined only to Kashmir, but in the rest of India also. The Muslims as a whole, the Muslim minority in India is also being oppressed, marginalized, victimized under the Hindutva governed Modi government. But if one does not now hear Saudi government critical of the Modi government's these policies, again, eyebrows will be raised. But I think we should not rush to these conclusions in a haste. We have to be realistic. Every country has its own national interest, which it wants to protect and promote. And following the changes in the geopolitics and geoeconomic environment, the countries do modulate their policies, make necessary adjustments. For example, the kingdom's security interest in Yemen and the situation in the Gulf vis-a-vis Iran, and to some extent Qatar, are important. But the same very issues evokes a response from Pakistan, which is not completely in line with the Saudi response. So, and the trajectory of Saudi Arabia's relations with India is not the same as the state of Pakistan-India relations. But of course, Saudi policies are guided by Saudi's economic interest as they embark upon diversification. But in all this, what is important is that neither Saudi's policies can ever be directed against Pakistan, nor Pakistan can ever think of doing anything inimical to Saudi Arabia. The relationship is too entrenched, too valuable to be affected by the other perceptions which I referred to. So these are really some challenges we have to take into account. But while there are these geopolitical challenges, the geo-economic landscape now is offering some promising prospects. I am referring to OBOR and CPEC. In the somber ambience, it provides a silver lining. I think Saudi should become an active partner in the development and progress of this mega initiative, because it is a project which focuses on increasing trade, investment, energy, infrastructure, connectivity, people-to-people contact. And this already Ambassador Asseri referred to the potential of the Gwadar port. And that's why during the last visit of the Crown Prince to Pakistan, some projects were earmarked for the Gwadar port. It is in this context that the safety and security of the sea lanes, which was my subject, also becomes relevant. Because as we know that Indian Ocean, as you know, is the third largest ocean, and it is the key transit region for intercontinental trade in energy and commercial goods. And here the three choke points: Strait of Hormuz, Bab el-Mandeb, and the Malacca Strait. If, God forbid, these choke points are blocked at any given time, it will have a devastating impact on the economy, trade, investment of Pakistan, Saudi Arabia. In fact, the whole international economy will be affected. Because 30% of the world's energy passes through these transit routes, and 90% of Pakistan's trade also is seaborne. So it is not only the military threat to which these sea lanes are exposed, but even non-military, like piracy, terrorism, weapons proliferation, drug trafficking, human smuggling, and other illegal activities, or mining of these sea lanes. So this is another issue which rather necessitates closer cooperation between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, how to ensure security of these sea lanes. Already some active partnership is in evidence between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia in this field. We have common training, sometimes common exercises. But this collaboration, I'm sure, needs to be further built up. So I would say that these perceptions which are peddled by fake news and media, one has to guard against. Because in actual, on the ground, I don't see any diminution, any lessening of the strength of Pakistan, Saudi Arabia bond. Pakistan is, as we know, a member of the Islamic Military Counter-Terrorism Coalition, which is led by retired General Rahid Sharif. We are part of the 13 countries Saudi-led coalition in Yemen in respect of diplomatic and humanitarian goals. Pakistan participated in the second Future Investment Initiative Conference at the Saudi request at very short notice when lots of entrepreneurs were pulling out. In the Human Rights Council, we supported the very forthrightly Saudi candidature and also rebutted the criticism leveled by some countries against Saudi Arabia. We have now, as was pointed out, recently joined Digital Cooperation Organization based in Jeddah. And Pakistan has, on the other side, also benefited a lot in kind of support in global and regional bodies by Saudi Arabia. And it's recently, a steadfast support directly and through GCC platform at FATF. And we have also talked about this large Pakistani diaspora gainfully employed in Saudi Arabia. And here I agree with Ambassador Asseri that this is one drawback which we have to seriously look at, that the days of unskilled labor are gone in Saudi Arabia and rest of the Gulf countries. It is now an age when you need skilled workforce. And for that, unfortunately, Pakistan has not so far been able to set up arrangements which will produce skilled workforce, which, as Ambassador said, will be very willingly accepted by Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries. So I would like to conclude by saying that the relationship, the fundamentals of Pakistan-Saudi relationship remain unaffected. Our relationship is in fact now getting more institutionalized, not just based on emotions. And that our security relationship is independent of our two countries' relations with other countries. Every country has the right to pursue its own national interests. The only thing, as I pointed out in the beginning, was it should not be at the cost of interests between our two countries, which is not the case. So Pakistan, we have to find those avenues where we can maximize our collaboration. And as I pointed out, CPEC provides a timely and very lucrative opportunity to build up this relationship. So there is mutual desire to further deepen our, to strengthen our bilateral ties while navigating carefully the fast changing domestic, regional, and global developments. His Highness the Crown Prince, during his last visit to Pakistan, said that he is the ambassador of Pakistan in Saudi Arabia. He won the hearts of the people of Pakistan. And they are expecting that this high-level exchanges, the process will be again resumed, so that any misgivings which might be peddled by vested interests who are not friendly to Pakistan or Saudi Arabia or to this invaluable bond, that those misgivings are removed. So with these words, I would say that I am sanguine of a very bright future of Pakistan-Saudi relationship. And in that respect, I greatly value the input which Ambassador Asseri is making in his now capacity with that think tank. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If I may request a couple of minutes to re-emphasize certain points that Ambassador Khalid has mentioned, I would appreciate it. Can I?
You may, sir, please. The rostrum is with you.
what worries me, and this is a very important statement to say, actually, some countries, I have noticed in recently that some countries have tried to make a drift on the Saudi-Pak relationship. And I would not be surprised if they continue to do so. We as people of both nations, I must hear, people, I want to make sure that whatever we say now is applicable. Our relationship is unique, profound, and durable. And I want to emphasize that our people-to-people ties are unbreakable, ever deepening through the millions of pilgrims who perform Hajj and Umrah each year. And let me emphasize also that our state-to-state, and this is a very important thing, our state-to-state relations are free from any change of leadership and government in Pakistan. And this is what makes our relationship is so unique, that I must remind all those countries that, alhamdulillah, Mecca and Medina are in Saudi Arabia, and they cannot be in any one of those capitals of those countries who are trying to make a drift in our relationship. We have to be careful not to, let such things go by. And I was very disappointed in the recently to, see some efforts of those countries trying to make that happen. But I have faith on the Pakistani media. I have faith in the Pakistani people, of all segments of society, that they will defend this relationship. They'll make it stronger, and they will criticize anybody who will try to divide us, because we cannot be divided. We are the cohesion that have existed since King Faisal, you mentioned, Ambassador Khalid, up to today should remain to be the same. And our flag is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. So I would appreciate giving me the time anyhow. I know it's not my time, but thank you very much.
So you're most welcome. It was such a great declaration by you. If I had known that I was actually touching the nuclear generators of information and passion in persons like you and in the person of Ambassador Khalid, I would have dedicated at least the whole day to this discussion.
Thank you.
Just touched the peaks of the emotion and peaks of the issues.
But it's unfair, Brigadier, because you are eating and I'm not. I see the man serving you tea and coffee and other food, and I'm just watching you see. So
I wish you were here, sir.
Inshallah, I will visit Pakistan again soon, inshallah.
Yes, sir. Next time we are going to get you here. Whether you are willing or not, we will get you here. Don't worry, sir.
I will be more than willing.
Ambassador,
I can assure you.
Wonderful. So thank you very much. Ambassador Khalid, just like you spoke from his heart. He was passionate. He was rather immersed into his thought and emotions. And what he was saying was coming directly from what he felt was wrong or right between in the relation between the two countries. Some of things that he said were important. Like Pakistan and Saudi Arabia had enjoyed deep brotherly ties, always stood with each other in the times of difficulties. Absolutely right. When he talked of His Majesty the King receiving him at the occasion of Pakistan's nuclear detonations, this reminds me of another episode. And that episode is known to very few, and I am one of them. Prince Sultan, late Prince Sultan, the defense minister, visited Pakistan after these, in one of these years. And he is the only brotherly, only dignitary from the brotherly country who was taken to the nuclear labs of Pakistan, and nobody else ever has gone there. This went down with the, I'm sure I was then in Riyadh, this went down with the Saudi public like anything. They appreciated this. There is no doubt, as Ambassador Khalid said, that Saudi Arabia has been in the forefront of speaking about the rights of Kashmiris and Palestinians, and always expressed solidarity with the people of occupied Kashmir. The perceptions that he talked about are perceptions. They do not, and he said later on that they do not touch the fundamentals of our relationship between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. Your apprehension, I would not say apprehension, but your observation that there have been countries who have tried to create rift between the equation between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. Let me assure you, sir, that they failed miserably and they will fail in future also. Thank you very much. Now, with your permission and with your permission, we will declare this session open for question and answers, if there are any.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
May I add something? Meanwhile, may I add something?
Please, sir. Mr. Khalid wants to say something more.
See, Ambassador Asseri's remarks are very reassuring. And he, in fact, corroborates my thinking also. That the bonds are so strong, so deep, so tested, time tested, that you can ever think of any cleavage coming in these relations. And on the other hand, there are forces, countries at the international level, in the domestic level, which are bent upon undermining these ties. And we have to guard against it. And secondly, how to promote our relationship. When I was listening to Ambassador Asseri about the lack of trade or economic cooperation, the very same things I used to say and used to hear 20 years ago, that there is not enough commensurate trade, that economic cooperation is too little, and that why things cannot be improved. Chambers of commerce should meet each other, and we should have a joint economic commission. All these things we knew 20 years ago, and still we are talking of the same thing. It means there is something wrong at the organizational level, policy level, at the, that nothing has improved. So it requires a very serious thought on the part of the decision makers, policy makers, that they should show some more seriousness in devising mechanisms so that things move. Otherwise, after 10 years, we'll be again talking of the same thing, that the trade volume between our two countries is not up to its full potential, and that economic cooperation is not very strong, and that there should be more contact among business people. This thing we have heard so many times. So it means some more seriousness is needed.
Yes. That's very true. Thank you.
I'll now request Dr. Maria Sultan give our concluding remarks. This is in the absence of question and answers, which we did not come in. It appeared that both of you did a tremendous justice to your subjects, and everybody is clear about what you wanted to say and what Ambassador Khalid wanted to say. Over to Dr. Maria.
Thank you very much, Brigadier Mehboob, for giving me this time. I think listening to the two esteemed speakers, one thing is for sure, that the nature and the strength of the Pakistan-Saudi relation is something which is strongly embedded in time, in space, but most importantly embedded in the hearts of the people of Saudi Arabia and the people of Pakistan. And it is from this that the strength of the relationship is actually built up, and it will remain there. Given this, however, there is a need of the time that we built up this relationship strongly and on firm settings. Once again, to which our forefathers had done under King Faisal and Pakistani Prime Minister, then Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and then something which had been picked up and taken through time in different eras. Because as the times change, the importance of Pakistan-Saudi relationship will only grow. But in order for us to fully build up on it, we need to do three things, in my humble opinion. First of all, we need to further strengthen IMAT under the Pakistan-Saudi collaboration and cooperation, so the defense and security needs of this region are not only understood, but shared. Because now we are coming to an era where there is shared and smart defense. And in shared and smart defense, there needs to be a collective regional security approach by regional security leaders. And in the Indian Ocean, the presence of Pakistan and Saudi Arabia is not a coincidence, but a reality. Second aspect which needs to be built upon further is that we need to institutionally, financially understand each other. The Pakistani and the Saudi banks, from this forum, we would like to suggest that a new channel must be opened between Pakistani State Bank and the Saudi central bank authorities, so that the cost of business, the ease of business is not only further sharpened, but it's something which is made available to both sides. And third, of course, is the factor which is linked to it. No relationship can be sustained in the future or in this time without an active trade. So in the battle for surplus value for goods and commodities, the importance of the route from Gawada to the Suez Canal and in between the route from Saudi Arabia is of critical importance. Perhaps now ports need to be built up. Oil and gas revenue needs to be seen with regards to diversification of industry, where the Pakistani industry, in particular in the IT field, can be expanded to Saudi Arabia, and Saudi youth can also be engaged. So this becomes the actual gateway to knowledge and development, and most importantly to economy. And last but not least, it is the cultural and the Islamic identity of the two states, which resonates not only in terms of progressiveness, but also in terms of embracing modernity as a core concept under the new leadership in Saudi Arabia, as well as the whole fountain of Islamic knowledge which rests in this reservoir. So in this context, it is extremely important that we built up on this aspect to bring together leadership to the entire Islamic world, in which cultural commonality, religious commonality, and most importantly, strategic commonality on these issues remains a valid concept for all times to come. However, like all progressions, it requires that people think on issues which concern us today with modernity, with progress, and most importantly, with a clear focus. Because anything which will lead us towards regression will come about if the leadership is challenged. So it is extremely important that Saudi Arabia and Pakistan continue to maintain this leadership and that continue to be a source of strength for the people, not only in this region, but also in Africa, Middle East, and Muslims worldwide. And last but not least, I think the new fountain which we need to build up is how do we revive the OIC's critical role in global affairs. The organization of the Islamic Conference has always played a very important role at important times once Muslim countries confronted challenging issues. So perhaps under the Saudi leadership and hence perhaps under Pakistan's commitment to it, we need to reconsider how can we bring the 56 Islamic states together on the international fora on issues which confront us economically, politically, militarily, and most importantly, in the security realm, so that we can come about with a united front and we do not stand divided on issues of core importance to all Muslim states. So with these few words, I would like to once again thank the two panelists whose great knowledge on Pakistan-Saudi relations has not only enlightened us this afternoon, but also allowed us to think through these issues which are of immense importance. In this context, we would like to just take liberty of Ambassador Asseri's presence and Ambassador Khalid's presence to share with you that one of the permanent series which FAME under Brigadier Mehboob, which we will be starting, will be on Pakistan-Saudi relations. And we hope that it is going to be a continuous series. And we will request the two esteemed speakers or first speakers in this forum today for FAME, for the Forum for Middle East and Africa, to remain as patrons for this forum, because through your patronage, we believe that we can at least bring real issues to the focus with real impact. Hopefully later on, we will also be including some personnel from the media and also from the policy community and from the security and defense community, so that our voices are not just left in this room or in some small part of the web, but we are able to take this thought from the leaders of the region to speak of the region. So with these few words, I thank you once again, our moderator, Ambassador Khalid and Ambassador Asseri, for being with us this afternoon. Thank you so much. I think that's all from FAME and from Sassi Security Review. We would have loved to have you together for some tea. You know, we can share some biscuits from here.
Dr. Maria, if I may ask just for 1 minute from the
yes,
Brigadier and yourself. Yeah, I think what we need to do based on what you just kindly mentioned is we should examine how can we deal with those problems, and we should expose it to apply pressure on the media, on the government. What we need is if a team from the government that provides labor, manpower to overseas, to come to the Saudi market and examine what do we need? Do we need IT? Do we need mechanics? Do we need computer specialists? You know, if they examine the market and impose on the people who take so much money from the labor, impose on them, okay, you create a technical training center, an occupational training center. I can, because they want, you know, the Saudi market, I know, and I always see associate, they said, yeah, we have Pakistanis, they don't know what to do. We get one from the other country, and they are great mechanic. They are good IT. They are good to fix certain things. So we need that one. The other thing is we have a commercial attaché in the embassy in Islamabad, and you have one in Riyadh. And your ambassador in Riyadh, I must compliment him. I have met him a few times, and he's trying to do his best. But if there is a special section in the embassy for the labor to report back, what do we need in Saudi Arabia? What do Emirates need? What do the GCC states need? He can give ideas and try to not to waste time, just ship people and take their money. No, take their money, train them so they can. That would be sustainable for them to have jobs in Saudi Arabia.
But I think you're very right. Labor and training of the labor is extremely important. But I think another aspect which we would want, taking liberty from your presence, if you could take back to your government, is that maybe if you can see some key areas where Pakistan and Saudi industry can also collaborate. Because if we're able to focus on even one industry, which we can collaborate together, that could be a key. And secondly, there are also some issues with regards to, I think, the visas regime, because there's sometimes lack of clarity on that account. So maybe some place through which, because I think there was lots of press these days which was saying that the visas for the Pakistanis are closed. So I think, some places where this information can be made clear would be a good starting point.
Actually, Pakistan is exempted from the big amount for fee, the fees. There is just a very simple fee for visas for Pakistanis only. But if you see it in other countries, it doesn't exist. So Pakistan is exceptional case. But to refer to what you have just to my efforts with the government, I would suggest, if we talk about exporting leather, exporting surgical equipment from Sialkot. If few businessmen visit the ambassador in Riyadh, he can do more effective role than I would or anyone else who would just, he can translate this to action, to paperwork, to official capacity, to reach out, either the Chamber of Commerce in Saudi Arabia, link those people together and examine why can't we work together? What is the problem? If it's in the government level, then let's address it in the government level. If it's on the lack of confidence and lack of trust between then we can create some kind of, LCs or whatever we can between the people in both countries. So I agree with you. It would not be nice to just talk about, leave things in this room and do nothing. I think it's important that we help our people in both countries, and the only way we can help them is to apply, pressure on the private sector to connect with the private sector in Saudi Arabia and use both embassies, and especially your ambassador in Riyadh, to reach out, wherever there is a problem, they can tackle that problem. I think that would make things work and open the market for Pakistani products.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you.
Good, very good to see you. Very good to see you, and Ambassador Khalid.
Also, you're not going away till I speak some more.
We are under captive audience, Ambassador.
I brought you here. This is my duty to thank you and Ambassador Khalid and Dr. Maria and all the participants who made this webinar such a success. We will share the webinar report with respected panelists, other think tanks, and with the policymakers. Pakistan-Saudi Arabia relations transcend economic, diplomatic, and security paradigms and are fundamentally strong, very strong. Sir, as Dr. Maria said, we will continue to meet.
Inshallah.
And you have been already inducted as the patron of this fame forum. Until then, sir, Allah Hafiz. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
kind.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
issue-based
Sir, अभी करते हैं.
जैसे लेबर का गवर्नमेंट के भी बनाया,
I'm ending the
बेटा end करते हैं.
प्राइवेट सेक्टर से भी बनाया, मैन पावर
end meeting for all.